I am out. All right, guys. I'm leaving the chat room bar open here, so I should be able to see you guys talking this time through. Yeah, okay, good. I saw that. Thanks, Corporal. You do hear me, yeah? I'm assuming awesome means you hear me. Roger that. But you can hear me? Yeah, okay, awesome. Okay, then yeah, we're just gonna go right to it. Japan starts the game with 17 IPCs to begin with, and transports are 7 IPCs, so I'll purchase 2 transports for 14 IPCs and save the other 3. So getting rid of 14, keeping 3, and we'll put those 2 transports on the pallet and move the pallet. Okay, so the purchase units phase is complete. And now we'll go right into the combat moves phase. So there's a lot going on here. Just a moment. Okay. I have to break down some pieces here. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is move 1 transport. Well, first we're going to load this transport with 2 infantries and leave 1 behind in the Caroline Islands. And this guy's going to come down here to the East Indies, big surprise, and unload. So that'll be a freebie. I'm going to go ahead and just adjust this now. So Japan will move from 17 to 21, and the UK will move to 39. Another freebie, just to get out of the way, the other troop on the Carolines will move on to the transport and then move into Sea Zone 49 and then load into Borneo, capturing that as well. And we'll go ahead and move that as on the IPC chart here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, next let's do the Pearl Harbor. This is what I call the third wave attack. If anybody knows their Pearl Harbor history, they'll know what I'm talking about. You have the option of doing this, making a safe bet, or doing maximum damage but at a slightly higher risk. And I'm going to go for the riskier option of sending 2 fighters from Sea Zone 57 into 56, and sending the destroyer from 51 into 53, as well as 2 fighters from 57 to 53. So it's kind of a little bit elaborate of a move. 1 destroyer came from Sea Zone 51, and 2 fighters came from Sea Zone 57, and that's these 2 movements here. And then the remaining 2 fighters went into Sea Zone 56. Okay. Next, we have the China problem. So first, I probably should have done a recap on Russia, but there was no combats. I'll just make a point to do a recap on my next video. Okay, I'm going to break this into 2 groups. 1 infantry out of Manchuria will move into Bryatia. And that's actually a freebie, at least for the moment. So Japan will go up to 26 now, and Russia will come down to 25 on the IPC chart. And the remaining 2 infantries in Manchuria will move into Suihuan, so however you pronounce that. And let me rotate that. And 1 fighter from Japan will move into C Zone 62 for 1, Manchuria for 2, and Suihyuan for 3. So there will be 1 movement factor left. And actually, just to be clean about this, I'll just mark these as well. Good habits. Both groups of fighters here have 3 movement factors left. Okay, carrying on over in China. Kiangsu will deliver 2 more infantry, or 2 infantry from Kiangsu will move into Hupei, leaving 1 back in Kiangsu. And the fighter from Manchuria will move 1 into Kiangsu, 2 into Hupei. So there will be 2 movements left on this fighter. Moving further south, 1 infantry from, well, not that far south, Ryan. 1 infantry from Kiangsu will move into Fukin. And 1 infantry from French Indochina will move into Fukin. Oops. Okay, so there's basically so far 2 Japanese infantry in each of these 3 Chinese provinces. And the fighter from Formosa will move 1 into C Zone 61, 2 into Fujian. So this fighter also will have 2 movements left. Okay. Next. Now this transport up here in C Zone 62 will load a tank and 1 infantry from Japan and float down into C Zone 61 and unload in Kwangtung. So there's a tank and an infantry hitting the beach in Kwangtung. And that's what this is. This big guy. And next, both transports that are already loaded in C Zone 61 will move to C Zone 37. Actually, let me do this move first. The fighters in C Zone 61 will move 1 space into C Zone 36, 2 spaces into C Zone 37, and 3 spaces into C Zone 35. So they will have 1 movement left, and I will declare that the aircraft carrier is the intended landing point because the aircraft carrier can move into C Zone 37. That's the only way to make that move legal, so I'll just declare that's the intention of that. In my non-combat movement phase, that carrier intends to move down there to catch those guys. Okay, now I'll move these transports after I take this big thing out. That's what this double-armed combat move thing is for. It's just to show that they're coming out, moving 1 into C Zone 36, 2 into C Zone 37, and then unloading into Burma. So far we have 3 infantry and an artillery just from those transports alone hitting the beach in Burma. And last but not least, both infantries in French Indochina will move into Burma. And the last combat move is the battleship and the cruiser in C Zone 61 are both going to move into the Philippine Islands C Zone. So that's it. Boy, that was a lot of moves there. Okay. Oh, hey, Piloto. I see you there. Cool. All right, now we go to the combat phase. Let me just get this a little more organized. I'll use the battle board, but also I want to make sure that the whole dice rolling board is in the frame here. Okay. Okay, we'll make that work. Something like that. Okay. Actually, here I'll just kind of, maybe I can kind of move some pieces around here. Okay. Just a moment. Okay, all right, here we go, chaps. Let's do regular Pearl Harbor first. This is just a single American battleship on defense. 2, 3 attackers for the Japanese. Here, I'll move them up so we can at least see them in frame here. And 1, 2 attacking destroyer. Okay, so here's all my dice. And I'm going to use reds to represent the fighters and black dice to represent the destroyer. Okay, so yeah, here we roll. 2, 3 attackers and 1, 2 attacker. We get 1 hit. So I'm just gonna let that linger for a second. We have a 5, and the chat is that in frame? The chat actually covers a third of my screen, so it's hard to tell. So this is a 5 from the destroyer, a 4 from fighter number 1, and a hit from 3 from fighter number 2. So we'll go ahead and tip the battleship to its side. And then, okay, cool, thanks, Corporal. It's just about in frame. So I'm gonna clear the dice and just roll, just pick 1 dice here. I'm gonna roll for the battleship now. And the battleship gets a hit on a 3. So I'll let that linger. Of course, I'm gonna select the destroyer as a casualty. And we'll go for round number 2. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and just shoot the whole wad, if that's all right. Well, nah, let's keep it clean. So I'm just gonna use red dice, 2 of these red dice here, to represent the fighters on the attack, and then we'll roll the American battleship separately. Okay, we did get a hit. Again, yeah, it's in frame. So this is a 2, and that'll count as a hit, and this is the miss, a 5 and a 2. So the American battleship goes to behind the casualty line, and we're gonna clear the deck. And I'm gonna hope that that the dice gods are kind here. There's a 33% chance that I escape without losing any fighters here. So let's use this guy. Ah, nope, no dice. That's a 2. Good hit, guys. So we did not escape unscathed, and there's still a chance to do more damage. So 1 fighter survived the attack against the American battleship. So I return the 1 fighter to C Zone 53 for the moment, and we'll come back to that. And now I'm going to load up the Pearl Harbor 2 attack, the 3rd wave, which is against this destroyer transport combination off the west coast. I'll leave the transport on the board for the moment. And this is a fight to the death. We need to sink these guys. So let's see if we can move this. This is one thing I will work on for sure, is getting this whole thing. I'll find a position that, oh, I have an idea. Hold on. Sweet. That's a lot better, I think. It's pretty clear, man, don't worry. Okay, so thanks, Ploto. All right, so we got 2-3 attackers versus 1-2 defender. So I'll just yank. Yeah, that's pretty good. I can get the dice in frame now, too. I'm just gonna pick 2 dice here. Let's do 2 black. My attacking fighters will roll. And we get 1 hit. We have a 6 in the north and a 3 in the south. Okay, cool. Yeah, better now. So that's 1 hit on the destroyer. The destroyer moves behind the casualty line, clearing the deck. And then we'll just roll 1-2 defender for the Americans. And that's a miss on a 3. So I will now remove the transport from C-Zone 56, as well as the destroyer from the battle or from the casualty zone, and return both Japanese fighters to C-Zone 56. Okay, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty much what I was hoping. It was expecting to happen. Lose 1 fighter there. Oh, sorry, no. What am I doing? All right, let's move to the west. Next, I'm going to do this battle. It's just in screen here. Just to knock out this American destroyer real quick. So we'll put this destroyer here. This is a Japanese battleship and cruiser taking out an American destroyer around the Philippines. So the red dice, let's clear this. Shoot, I forgot the camcorder. So this was not being backed up, my bad, but you guys are here, so that's cool. All right, so I'm gonna use the battleship, do the battleship for the red, and the black will be my cruiser. So red is the battleship. And the battleship gets a hit, and the cruiser misses. Hit from the battleship, miss from the cruiser. American destroyer moves behind the casualty line, and in this case, there is no point to rolling, as any hit would be soaked by my battleship. So I'm just going to remove the transport from C-Zone 50 and knock out the destroyer, return my ships to the C-Zone 50. Okay. Next, let's do some of these little battles in China. We'll start in the north at Suiyuan. Sorry guys, usually I like to take a minute to make sure my pronunciation is correct, but I just got home, so had to jump right into it. So we got 2 1 attackers and 1 3 attacker versus 1 2 defender. There we are. Okay, so we'll do the 2 1 attackers will be black, and the 1 3 attacker will be red. So there we go. Oh, this is an interesting roll. So we have 1 black 6 and 1 a hit with the infantries. Yeah, I know, Corporal. And then the fighter actually missed. So infantry picked up the slack where the fighter missed, and the Chinese infantry moves behind the casualty zone. The corporal says that we all pronounce those territories differently for those of you who are not watching this on Twitch. Okay, and before he leaves the casualty zone, we'll roll this 1 dice for the Chinese. Nice, you guys got a hit. Actually, I should say, let's be specific. Piloto got a hit. So I will return 1 infantry and 1 fighter back to Suiyuan. And I'm gonna go ahead and, because I'm like Corporal Clegg, I will forget to move the IPC board. I'm gonna move it up 1 for Japan. And next, we will do the next one down. So this is going to be the battle in Hubei. Same thing. 2 infantry and a fighter. Like that. So we'll do 2 black for the infantry, 1 red for the fighter. 2 black for the infantry, 1 red for the fighter. And again, the fighter missed with a 5, and the infantry came through rolling a 2 and a 1. So we move the Chinese behind the casualty zone, and before he leaves, shoots back. Misses on a 3. So I'll clear the Chinese off the casualty zone and return my 2 Japanese infantries to Hupei, as well as the fighter. And then continuing south, we have Fujian. Same setup, same thing. Okay. This will be the last one of these types of battles. Everything else is going to be at least a little different. So again, we'll do 2 black and 1 red for the infantries being the black and the red being the fighter. And for the 3rd time in a row, the fighter missed, and for the 3rd time in a row, an infantry hit of the 2. Wow. Cool rolls. And now we'll roll 1 dice for the Chinese before they bonsai charges. Yeah. Corporal Clegg says bonsai charges. Yeah, right. Super effective apparently. And here's for the Chinese. And that's a miss with a 4. Okay. So that's all worked out pretty well, or at least to the averages. Okay. And we'll remove the Chinese. Okay. And I've been a bad boy here. Let me move the IPC board up another 2. 1 for Hupei and 1 for Fujian. So we moved Japan from 27, 28, we're up to 29. And I just like to do, this is kind of weird, I know, but I've broken, China has been broken down to 4 territories now, so I just like to keep track of the economy. China technically collects 6 IPCs at start, but it doesn't get it until its turn, and it only can buy infantries, but I just like to, I'm an economy guy, so I just put that there for fun for me. Okay. Yeah, zeros can't hit the broadside of a barn, apparently. Thanks, Quintert. So far, so we'll see. Next, we'll just keep moving on down. Just in frame here, we have this amphibious assault in Kwangtung. This is just a tank and an infantry. And this is British defense there, 1 infantry. We'll roll 2. No, this is not a 2. Oh, C zone 35. Yeah. Okay, so Corporal Clegg is making a comment about C zone 35 being a crucial battle. So I'm going to roll a red for the tank and a black for the dice, or for the troop. This is my infantry, the black, and my tank is red. Okay. This is a miss. The infantry did not pull through this time. And again, those 3 attackers are just not landing their hits at all. So the British will get a free shot back. And here we go. 6. So this is a 3-way whiff. We'll just re-roll everything. Here we go. The red is the tank, the black is the infantry. This time the tank hits. And we'll move the British behind the casualty zone, and the British will roll their 2 defender. And the British miss. Okay. So I'll return the Japanese infantry and tank to Kwangtung. Put my control marker down, and let's adjust the IPC board real quick. I just think this is the fun part, just watching the IPCs kind of change hands here, the economy shift a little. Okay. All right. And now let's do the Battle of Burma. This is a wash. This is like big time 0% chance for the British to do anything. But let me see, what do I have here? I don't even, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is pretty cool. Yeah, we got 5 infantry total, plus 1 artillery, which promotes one of these infantries to a 2 attacker. Come on now. So, 2 attackers will be with the reds, red dice, and the 1 attackers will be 1, 2, 3. We need 1 more. Okay, so the black are the 1 attackers, and the reds are the 2 attackers. Okay. Oh, that's a whiff. Oh, wow. Okay, I'll let it linger here for a minute, but all the ones missed, rolling 4, 5, and 6, and the 2 attackers both rolled a 3. So here's a free shot by the Brits. Yeah, this is again the battle in Burma. And they nail me. Okay. Wow. I guess I spoke too soon. Wow. So we'll clear the deck. Of course we attack again because we have to. Most of this is amphibious. And we now have 3 1 attackers and 2 2 attackers. Okay, there we go. We got 2 hits. The 1 attackers hit with 1, and the 2 attackers hit with 1. Okay. And now, will I be disgraced with a second hit by this one little guy? No. Okay. I have to be honest and say I felt that was coming. I felt like I was going to get knocked. That's a 5, so it ended up being 1 for 1. Now return 4 infantries and an artillery to Burma, and I'll do a review at the end so we can get this all in. And we have 1 final battle before we go to the non-combat moves. And I'll just roll, well, let's just do it right. It's a destroyer. We've already done this on the West Coast, guys. Let's do this again. Come on, you bloody zeros. So we'll just take 2 red dice here. There we go. And here we go. Okay, we got the hit that we needed. This is a 2, and this is a 3. And I don't care if you get a hit. I was worried about that all day. So anyway, here's the destroyer. British destroyer returns fire. I mean, of course, it would be nice to have both my zeros, and I do. Wow, that's a 6. Sorry, gents, but you'll be all right. So that's the end of the combat. I'll remove the British destroyer, and both Japanese fighters returned to Sea Zone 35, and now, of course, I removed the transport. Okay, so the combat phase is done. We'll now go to the non-combat move. So let's do the start in the east. These 2 carriers will move to Sea Zone 62. There's some exceptions to my chipping there, Corporal Clegg. I usually like to chip everything. I will not chip aircraft because I don't want people to say that they didn't see something, so I always leave aircraft represented by an individual piece. And in most cases, or some cases, especially with capital ships, I should say, with capital ships, I leave them all on the board as well. So all 3 zeros return back to the carriers. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So that's those. So that's that move. That's, oh yeah, sorry. It's pretty brutal, but it also is a little bit risky. It can backfire. I've seen it backfire, but it's competitive even if it does. So these 2 fighters, like I said, in the combat move, this carrier, I should say, must move to Z Zone 37 to catch these fighters. So that takes care of them. Another easy one is this fighter in Manchuria the fighter in Suihyuan is moving to Manchuria. And that takes care of this move, actually. And then I have 2 more fighters, and they will both... Oh, did I forget one more? On the IPC board, the capture of Burma netted me 2 more IPCs, so Japan will move up to 32, and Britain will move down to 32 as well, so that's interesting. But check me on the IPC board if well, we'll all check together at the end of this, but you know how it can go sometimes. All right, so the 2 fighters are going to move into French Indochina, and I'll just say, or just as a reminder, China can't attack outside of its own territories, so I'm not expecting to see the United States player or piloto attack me there and try to trade a fighter for a fighter or something. But check me on that. Anyway, that should be 1, 2, and 1. So that's them. Yeah, thanks, Corporal, for backing me up on that. Okay, so that's it for non-coms. And we now go to place units, and if it wasn't a big, surprise, those go there. And then we collect 32 IPCs, and we saved 3. So I'm going to put these 3 back in the bank and just collect an even 35. And I'll double check that amount at the end because just the IPC tracker moved so much. But I'll just link these 2 videos together and you won't know what I'm talking about because it'll be one video anyway. But in the East Indies, we have 2 infantry and a transport. In Borneo, we have 1 infantry and 1 transport. In Sea Zone 50, we have a battleship and a cruiser. In Sea Zone 37, I have 2 transports, a carrier, and 2 fighters. And in Burma, we have 4 infantry and an artillery. In French Indochina, we have 2 fighters, and those came from Hubei and Fukien. Each had 2 movement factors left. In Guangdong, we have an infantry and a tank. In Fukien, we have 2 infantry. In Hubei, we have 2 infantry. In Suihyuan, we have 1 infantry. Jiangsu, there's nothing. Manchuria, we have 1 fighter. So that was the fighter from Suihyuan. In Japan proper, we have 3 infantry, 1 artillery. In Sea Zone 62, we have 2 transports, 3 fighters, and 2 aircraft carriers. In Buryatia, we have 1 infantry. In Okinawa, we have 1 infantry. In Iwo Jima, we have 1 infantry. In Sea Zone 61, we have 1 transport. I think that catches everything. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. See ya.